Yo, back in the garage again today. We were going over the dual battery system and solar setup that I have built into the backseat of my truck. The main reason that I have been diving into all of this lately, I've been going through and redoing some of the wiring, adding some lights, that sort of thing, is because I've partnered up with Redodo to get a bigger and better battery into the backseat of the truck here. I currently am running 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. Just standard battery, nothing wrong with it, but I'm upgrading to 165 amp hour self-heating battery. This battery also does come with Bluetooth monitoring as well, so you can check it right from the app, check your state of charge. It'll tell you right there, super cool. The main reason I'm really excited about this is for the self-heating. I do a lot of winter camping out here in the mountains. I like to run my diesel heater, which draws a lot of power when it's especially cold, when I'm running it at night. So the fact that this is 165 amp hour over the 100 amp hour and it's self-heating will leave me with absolutely no worries. Last time I went camping, I didn't have enough charge in the battery. The wife and I went out and we weren't able to get the diesel heater started. I do park in a garage at home now as well as at work. When I originally built the solar system, I parked outside at the house, but now it's just not getting enough charge. So one, I want to go to a bigger battery. Two, the self-heating will help keep it charged longer. And then three, I did add a DC to DC charger as well. So I'm going to take you inside the truck, show you what's new, show you what I've improved, and get this battery installed.
All right, quick detour, but first we got to unbox all this stuff. So first we have the shunt, or the battery monitor. The battery itself does come with built-in Bluetooth monitoring, but this will just be a slightly more accurate way to monitor the state of charge. It doesn't actually require a phone to check it either. You just wire this shunt in line with the negative, and then you run a small connection over to the positive terminal. From there, you just mount your screen, and you can use that to check, like I said, the state of charge, how many amp hours you have remaining, and the current draw that you put on the battery. And next, we've got our main piece, the actual battery. Inside the box, you're just going to find your product manual, quick startup guide, some stickers. Make sure you actually charge these batteries up fully before you first use them. We'll find your post mounts up top here too for the battery. This thing does just weigh 30 pounds, which is nice. I found about 20 pounds per 100 amp hours. Seems to be about the average, so that makes sense here. But what we've got is a 165 amp hour dual purpose Group 31 battery that's self-heating and has built-in Bluetooth monitoring. It's a deep cycle battery rated for 1200 cold cranking amps. You can't use this thing for your car or truck or anything, but if you're into fishing, you can use them for outboard motors. The other day, I drew up a quick map of all the electrical accessories I have tied to the truck and the dual battery system, so I'll go ahead and throw that up on the screen now. People often ask how I know what size wire to use for all this stuff. Well, I'll put a chart up at the end of the video to help answer that question.
I'll take you on a quick tour. Up top on the roof, the system starts with a 100-watt flexible solar panel. It's just stuck down with double-sided 3M tape, and then the wires run down through the back of the truck up to the charge controller. The charge controller then leads under the platform up into the dual battery. This is just the natural state of the truck. I do keep the fridge in here full time. This truck is my daily driver. Honestly, it's easier than just taking everything out all the time and putting it back in when I need it. But the fridge itself will run off this plug. This top cigarette port I use for the diesel heater. And then back there where the blue light is, I've got just a little voltmeter and 2 USB plugs that I'll use to charge like phones and walkie-talkies and stuff. Everything is ran to a Blue C fuse box here to keep it all neat and organized. Positive and negative from the Blue C fuse box just run to the main battery itself here. So everything's completely isolated from the truck. I did add the DC to DC charger, which I'll go pan over to now. So kind of a tough angle, but this is underneath the driver's seat. You can see the 20 amp DC to DC charger. I actually just made custom brackets for it and glued the industrial strength Velcro onto the bottom side of the brackets, bolted the brackets to the charger, and then so the charger itself is Velcroed down to the carpet. Then the wires themselves just run underneath the carpet, up to the Blue Sea fuse box that I have up here by my feet. These units themselves can handle 100 amps, or each individual slot can handle 40 amps. If I were to be powering everything at the same time, I'll be pulling maybe 30 amps for this whole unit. And let me take you into the engine bay real quick. I'll show you how I have that thing wired up, because this fuse block only pulls power when the key is in the ignition. So I mentioned that fuse box by my feet only pulls power when the key's in the ignition. This solenoid here, which is actually from a golf cart, runs inside to an accessory fuse, so that acts as the gate, and then the main wires for it just run up and along in some split loom to a 100 amp fuse over to my battery with the Rugged Rocks battery terminals. I do have another fuse there as well for the 8-gang switch panel that I have in the dashboard, which runs all my off-road lights. And now that I've got some more usable amp hours to burn with the bigger battery, I added a 4-gang switch panel into the bed of the truck here. The main box for it is hanging on the rail on the back of the bed. The power wires just run inside to the spare battery in the back seat. And then the main panel for it, I have bolted to the bed rail. I added a little riv nut, and then it's just screwed into place there. I really like this one because you can turn it on or off as needed. You can change how bright it is, the color, yada, yada, yada. I added some lights under the bed rack here just to shine up the contents when we're at camp. And then I don't have them wired in yet, but I'm messing around with the location and where I want to put some side shooters just to light up the ground as well, just to make it a bit more comfortable.
All right, now that we've gone over all that, let's actually go ahead and get this battery installed.
These straps out of here. Pop this off. Get our negatives out. Get some better light. I think one of the coolest features about this battery is that you just scan the QR code here once you download the app on your phone, and that's all the monitoring that you'll ever need. You can check the state of charge, the draw, the percent that, the amount of charge that you're getting through your solar and everything. Super cool feature to have.
All right, that's it. I'm going to throw the wire gauge chart up that I referenced for most of these projects that I talked about earlier. Let me know if you have any questions or what you want to see next. Thanks.